I'm no kind of military expert. In fact, I haven't served a day in the military in my life. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Google Maps and a little common sense to show that the received wisdom from the politicians and media pundits that pushed the Afghan war on us in the first place, that Biden should have held Bagram Airport, or as Senator Ben Sass put it on ABC News this week today,
abandoning Bagram base will be read about in military textbooks for decades as one of the stupidest military blunders ever.
This Google map shows the road from Kabul to Bagram. As you can see, it's 58 kilometers from Kabul and can be expected to take an hour and 20 minutes by car on a good day. While it's true that Bagram has 2 runways as compared to Kabul's 1, it's almost 60 kilometers from Kabul. And that's where most of the people are. Everybody being evacuated would have to be pushed up that road before they could get on a plane. Martha Radish knows the Afghan war well. She's been with the war from the very beginning and she's seen it from all angles. She has a real overview. In an earlier segment in that same This Week, she pointed out that traveling by road in Afghanistan ain't no cakewalk.
We quickly link up with the...
There are other ways to leave Afghanistan, including by road, and many countries border Afghanistan.
That's a very dangerous trip.
What a fun trip the Kabul Bagram Airport road could turn out to be, especially if ISIS or Al Qaeda or anybody should try to interfere. Actually, there are 2 roads from Kabul to Bagram, but the same problems apply to both. The second doesn't look recommended. It is longer and it takes longer. And I have to imagine the transit times on both will start to stretch out once you start putting a lot of traffic on them. And especially if you have to start probing for IEDs and landmines. Not to mention the problems we might have if the Taliban was to get it into their heads that the only reason we're hanging on to Bagram is to continue the occupation. Here we switch to terrain view, and we can see the Bagram is pretty much in the middle of nothing. Here we zoom in and we can see there's really not much to evacuate in the immediate neighborhood. Here's a real close-up. We can see a former Soviet base nearby. Foreign occupations don't seem to end well in Afghanistan. When will they ever learn? Anyway, let's look at some nearby names on the map. Here's Claiborne. They have a high school and a bus stop. At least that's a start. It's close to the airport road, so they should be easy to evacuate. Here's Dar Shah on the other side of Bagram. Please forgive my pronunciation. When Martin Sheen narrated my Vietnam doc, he made me get recordings of native speakers pronouncing all of the Vietnamese names so he could get them right. But I'm on a reduced schedule here. Here's Dar Shah, close up. I still don't see much there, but it would appear that Bagram pretty much is in the middle of nowhere, which is good for a military base, security-wise and all, but bad for evacuation point. Bagram University seems to be the most substantial thing in the area. Here's a picture of what appears to be the main building. Here's another view, pretty as it's set against the mountains. We see 2 cars, a pickup truck, and a bus parked off to the side, probably more around the back. Here's a better view of the whole campus. We can see 3 buildings and maybe a dozen people. Here we can see a courtyard, or maybe a garden, or both. And now we say goodbye to Parwan University. Very pretty flowers, but as we can see, there isn't much to evacuate from around Bagram. Almost every American and every Afghan to be evacuated would have to make that road trip from Kabul to Bagram. And as Martha said,
that's a very dangerous trip.
So you can see that all those pundits and politicians that are complaining that Biden didn't hold on to Bagram are just blowing so much smoke. You know that because they keep talking about Bagram's 2 runways without addressing these other problems. Well, I say 1 runway in the city is worth 2 in the bush. And all those that are demanding that Biden retake Bagram really want this forever war to continue.